Hello, Freedom Preppers. Perrin Lovett here once again. Please subscribe to this channel, like the video, or dislike it. It may be somewhat disagreeable today, but spread the message. Keep coming back. Quality will improve tomorrow. I thought about making this video, and I haven't even thought of a good title for it, but it's really what preppers need to know, especially preppers in America. What they need to know about this mess in Syria and the possible ramifications. I thought about making this the other day, but when the news broke, I wasn't unmanned, but I was a little upset, and I knew better than to make any production out of it. I've thought it through. I've looked at some possibilities. I've done a lot of research. I've read a lot of things, and I've considered some competing theories. And first of all, the missile attack. I'm convinced, almost 100%, that there was no chemical gas attack. There wasn't one this year. There wasn't one last year. And if there was, Bashar al-Assad had nothing to do with it. And even if he did, it's none of our business. But I don't think it even happened. There's evidence that the Russians knew this might have been a false flag. They might have known that a month ago. There's evidence that they were consulted the whole way through these missile strikes, and the missile strikes did nothing. It's a whole lot of nothing. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's not the point of the video. What are the possible reasons behind this? Is America trying to look tough to the world? That's not the way to do it. Is America trying to provoke a war with Russia? It's possible. There are certainly elements within the government that would love confrontation with Russia, up to and including nuclear war. But that's not what this is really about either. Is this total incompetence by the Trump administration? It very well could be. It certainly looks like it. Or is this Trump sold out to, corrupted by, or held hostage by the deep state? Or was he always part of the deep state and we just didn't know it? Could be. We don't know. But there's an alternate theory out there, and I'll go ahead and give Vox Day the credit for summing this up very nicely yesterday. The theory is that Trump launched these really trivial missile strikes into Syria as part of a pretext for a war. Not a real war, but the appearance of a war. A war, maybe in name only. The man has been accused for months and months, years now, of colluding with Russia. He colluded with the Russians to throw the election and unseat the Clinton regime. Well, they've been saying that, but there's absolutely no proof of it. There may actually be proof now of him colluding with Russia now over Syria and this war that really isn't going to be a war. And again, this is just a theory, but it's one that maybe, short of the nuclear option, it makes more sense for preppers to be aware of. What Trump may be doing is having backroom talks with Putin. Say, hey, I need the appearance of a war. So let's do something in Syria. It's not going to be a real war. We're not really going to be enemies. Nobody's really even going to get killed. I just need the legal pretext of a war so that I can go to war with my real enemies in America. Because the system doesn't really work for Trump. He's right. He was right during the election. It's rigged against him. The courts are rigged against him. His own party is rigged against him. There is a deep state in operation. And they hate him. Or at least that's what it looks like. So if nothing else is left, he may have to go the military combatant route and round people up. Is that a wise choice? I'm not saying it's wise. It's probably a horrible idea. But we're beyond wise and good and right and wrong. This is post-constitutional America, post-legal America. It's almost post-America. And again, this is just a theory. So if he goes out and he starts rounding up members of the deep state, and there are plenty of them, there are plenty of treasoners and neocon, war nut, crazy people that need to be rounded up and sent away. They're dangerous. He's going to need cover for it. He may need this war. He also may have to declare martial law in America. And here we're going to pure speculation. I don't agree with Vox Day that this is a really possible outcome. I think it is possible, but it's far from likely. I think one of those other narratives about the incompetence or the corruption is much more likely. And I don't even know what to hope for. But martial law might need to be declared, because when you start grabbing corrupt congressmen, bureaucrats, bankers, judges, activists, attorneys, you're going to have these low IQ, violent, semi-savage, alternative types, the ones that are always marching and protesting and rioting. You're going to have them coming out marching, protesting, and rioting like never before. And you may need troops on the street to combat them. It may be a wonderful twofer. We'll get rid of all the top trash, and you'll eliminate the street trash too. Or not. It may not happen. So, but let's just assume that it is going to happen, because something like this is going to happen eventually, 2, 10, 50, 100 years from now. It's like an earthquake or a hurricane. We know it's going to come because things like this have happened before. You need to prep for it. How do you prep for it? Well, if you live in the countryside, you probably don't need to do anything at all. You probably wouldn't even know that it's happening. If you live in a city, you're probably going to know, and you probably need to be ready. When? I don't know. I don't know if this is going to happen. I'm just throwing out a theory here. Your usual preps will go a really long way. Stick to your plan. Decide whether you're going to hunker down or bug out, or maybe you might have to do both. Food, water, supplies. The basics. In this particular case, you're going to need to pay very close attention to news developments, and also stay quiet about all of this. If this theory comes to pass, if it becomes reality, and let's say you're on the right and you're so happy that the deep state is being destroyed and all the liberals are being swept into the sea, great. Think that. Don't tell anybody. Certainly do not go on social media and leave a record, because pendulums always swing back. I mean, if this happened, this would be the pendulum swinging back on somebody, and it'll come back again. And you don't want there to be a record of you supporting one side or the other. You don't want people to know you're doing anything or that you're even there. So just be quiet. Keep all your preps secret as usual. Special things to pay attention to. Fuel. There may be a fuel shortage. If you have a way to stockpile gasoline, and I may at some point repost my article about how I actually did that, and it's very easy. Make sure you do it the safe way. Keep a few extra gallons of gas around. If nothing else, keep the cars topped off. There may be a bank shutdown, bank runs, bank panics, economic turmoil. Now might be a good time to start setting aside a little cash. You never know when it's going to come in handy. If you have items that you think are great for bartering, bitcoins, gold, whatever, keep going with that. Security. Security is going to be very important if those riots get out of hand during the martial law or in the absence of martial law. I'll just leave that. You know how to take care of yourselves. Just be aware that you want to keep that as quiet as possible. You certainly don't want gunshots going off in the neighborhood if you absolutely don't have to fire them. Keep the weapons ready, but out of the way, out of sight, and unused if at all possible. And do be mindful that if troops roll down the street or if they set up roadblocks, they're not going to have time to discern if you're one of the good guys or not. And besides, even the bad people, when they go through a roadblock, are going to be saying, "Hey, I'm with you." They're going to treat everybody the same. So the best course of action is to have nothing to do with any of them. Stay to yourself. It'll all wash over. If it washes at all. We're down to like 1% of plausible reality. We're so deep in the speculation. But it could happen. And it might be a good thing. It might not. It's certainly, if it comes to pass, going to be interesting. And these times are going to be interesting no matter what. So just food for thought. Keep watching the news, but with this story especially, be aware that most of what you're going to hear from the popular press and just about everything coming out of the government, especially the American government, is a complete and total fabrication. That, in and of itself, might be crisis enough. We'll cover all that another day. Guys, have a great week. I'll be back Friday with the news. I realized maybe last week we had one too many videos. I get the message. We'll tone it down. Quality will improve tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe so that you're around when that happens. Have a great week.